This is music, and this is a stinky first impressions video. So stinky that one would think it was made by mega stinkmen. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos, I share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. In this video, we're just going to have a look at the last handful of CDs I picked up in Japan because I was in Japan recently. I also bought a bunch of vinyl records, but that's a different story for another day. Let's just get down to business, starting with some jazz. This is Akiko Yano and Hiromi. Step into Paradise. Piano jazz. The cover artwork kind of gives that away. Speaking of the cover artwork, I'm still kind of confused by it because all the other versions that I've seen of this album, and I've only seen them online, have Hiromi upside down on the front cover. Um, Basically, this artwork here behind the tray, but obviously this is not the front cover artwork. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't think that this is a special edition, but maybe the one that has Hiromi upside down, maybe that's a special edition. I don't know. By the way, this is what the actual people look like. So this is Akiko Yano, and this is Hiromi. And I'm a big fan of Hiromi, both her kind of solo piano stuff, but also the kind of band projects that she's been in, like Hiromi's Sonic Bloom, for example. Um, this is really nice. I really enjoy this. It's super chill, piano jazz, but there is a kind of a swing to a lot of the songs anyhow, which I appreciate. So this is music that evokes what we call hygge in Danish. Look it up if you want to know what it means. That's what I get from listening to this. So that's really nice. I really enjoy this. I recognized some of the songs. For example, there's a version of just the two of us on here. I was surprised because I expected this to be instrumental, but there are actually vocals on it. And I have to be honest, it took a couple of songs for the vocals to click with me. And that was simply because it's a singing style that I just wasn't used to. Yeah. But once it clicked, and I appreciate it now. And I do appreciate being introduced to different ways of doing music than what we were brought up to perceive as being the norm, if you know what I mean. So I appreciate this album for that as well. But yeah, this is really, really nice, chill piano jazz that I will definitely enjoy having on in the background while, working on research papers and all that good stuff. So awesome. A change of style here now. This is a Ningini Su album, and I think this is, without knowing it, because they have a substantial discography and it's hard to uh, keep up with everything in it. But I think it's one of their earlier releases, just because they look younger. So they have been described as Japan's Black Sabbath, and in a way it makes sense because they are quite inspired by Black Sabbath. But in another way, it kind of diminishes how original this band actually is, because these guys are not a Black Sabbath ripoff band at all. They have their own thing going on for sure. This album here is interesting because it's kind of heavy, I think, for an early Ninginisu album. At least compared to the other early Ninginisu albums that I have heard. It's quite heavy, it leans more towards the heavy metal side of things and the hard rock side of things than the 70s hard rock and the um, stoner rock and the psychedelic side of things. Uh, they do experiment, I think, a little bit more though on this one with different things than on the other output that I've heard. This is a really, really good album. I definitely like it. There are even some straight up doom metal songs on here, in my opinion, and also some heavy metal songs and quite hard hitting hard rock songs. But then you also have your typical Ninkani Sue style quirky things, which is one of the things I appreciate about this band. I like all the output I've heard by Ninkani Sue. I tend to lean more towards the more recent stuff just because it's heavier. This one, interestingly enough, although I think it's an early release, but again, I'm not sure, it's more aligned with the more recent stuff just because you have some pretty damn heavy songs on here. So, great album. Is it the best gateway album into Ninkani Sue? I don't know. I think if you were into stoner rock, 70s rock, alternative rock, psychedelic stuff, their early output is probably the best place to start. If you're into heavy metal and doom metal and heavier stuff, I think their more recent output is a better place to start. But maybe you'll like this one. Who knows? Check it out. Change of style again. Some thrash metal. This is Outrage, Life Till Death. And yeah, I do consider this thrash metal, but I would describe it as 90s thrash. You do have some fast, all out thrashy songs, and you do have some things that kind of harken back to the 80s. There's a lot of mid-paced thrash, though, a lot of like moshing friendly stuff. But it's combined with groove metal, and I know in this day and age, groove and metal, when you combine those, it's a huge turnoff to a lot of people. I still maintain that there was a very, very short golden era of groove metal before it got completely watered down, when groove metal was actually pretty damn awesome. And the groove metal elements in this one are pretty similar to the golden era groove metal. The vocals are also more in the groove metal camp, but so you got groove metal, you got thrash metal. You also have a big component of heavy metal. Not 80s heavy metal, I would say, but more like, Metallica Black Album heavy metal, if that makes any sense. Testament, The Ritual heavy metal. Overkill, I hear black heavy metal. Flotsam and Jetsam Quattro heavy metal. Uh, those three, I would say, kind of three genres kind of mixed together, and it's pretty damn solid. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, it was great. I like this. The guitar tone is similar to Exodus, but it's not as razor sharp, but it's in that neighborhood, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm glad I picked this one up. I quite enjoyed it. Is it a masterpiece? Probably not. Is it enjoyable? Yeah, definitely. I like it. Change of style again. This is Kickback off the Karma Music. It's a compilation of Japanese punk rock artists. Each artist has two songs, and I picked it up basically just because I thought it would be a fun thing to have in my collection. Turns out I quite enjoyed a lot of the artists on here, especially Second Plus One. They have the two first songs on here. I thought they were really, really good. I also quite enjoyed the fun chaos of the Mega Stinkmen with the two last songs on here. And yeah, most of the other artists had at least one song that I enjoyed. So yeah, this is a fun listen. Definitely, if you're a punk rock enthusiast, check this out. You might like some of it. Some of it is it's hardcore punk, some of it is ska inspired punk, some of it is cheer punk, some of it is kind of 90s groove metal meets punk meets inspiration from the rap metal scene, whatever. So yeah, very enjoyable and a lot of diversity on this one. And up last, this one that I bought just for the fun of it, Metal Karaoke or Metal Karaoke, um, with yeah, what 10 songs on it, a lot of A lot of Guns N' Roses. Uh, I think they have the most songs on here, and you got some Bon Jovi as well. So I just bought this one for the fun of it. I was positively surprised that, I mean, these are instrumentals, but they were not that kind of cheap MIDI sounding style that is stereotypically associated with karaoke. These were like genuine instrumental covers, some of them better than others, of course, but it was a fun listen to be sure. I did not sing along because, unlike a lot of karaoke bar and karaoke booth songs, which typically actually have the vocal lines, just the melodies, these one didn't, and oh, this one didn't. These ones, this one. When you mix them up, I guess it's these one. There you go. Anyways, these didn't, uh, and some of them I actually couldn't remember what the vocal melodies sounded like. But actually, it's kind of a fun listen. Actually, I just appreciated how it seems like it was real musicians who recorded this stuff. You do have whenever you have vocal harmonies, you do have the backing vocals. Anyways, a fun listen for sure. But there you go. The last handful of CDs I picked up in Japan. Fun listens, but as always, check them out on your own. For now, thanks for watching.